Unforgiving Ross-Abian Desert.
Good morning, welcome to Coulee Outdoors. I'm your host, Brandon Scott, and with me today will be my father-in-law, Sabrina's dad, Bob. We are in the eastern flanks of the Olympics to do another river walk. I'm going to try and keep seesawing back and forth between a river walk and a desert hike. So today we're doing a river walk. We're going up the Duckabush River, which is between the Doe's Wallops to the north and the Hamma to the south, pretty much sitting in dead center of the eastern portion of the Olympic Peninsula Range. The trail, the Duckabush River Trail, goes eventually something like 15 or 20 miles up to O'Neill Pass before becoming the Quinault River Trail, I think, and then dropping down the Quinault River. But we're not going that far. We're going to hopefully go to 5 Mile Camp, maybe if we're feeling exciting, all the way to the national park boundary at 6 miles, but hopefully at least 5 Mile Camp. So, being a main river trail, it's going to have all of these day hiking books are going to have them. Day Hiking Olympic Peninsula, Day Hiking Olympic Peninsula, and the Olympic Mountains Trail Guide all are going to have them. I'll just flip over to one because they all pretty much say the same thing. Oh no, I lost my spot. Oh no, I lost my spot. Oh no. Oh no. Right there. Duckabush River, 10.5 miles, rating of 3 stars, difficulty of 3. You got 2 hills you got to go up and over, and then you drop back down to the river. They're called Little Hump and Big Hump. Going up and over Little Hump is what stopped the road from going any further up the valley, which coincidentally means when you get to the top of Little Hump, you enter the Brothers Wilderness, and then you'll be back down along the river for a little ways, and then you'll get to Big Hump, and you go up and over Big Hump, which is a bigger climb, that's why it's called Big Hump, and then you'll drop down from Big Hump, and you'll get to 5 Mile Camp at 5-ish miles, and then after that, you'll arrive at the park boundary at 6 miles, and then you'll continue on from there. The geology, we are going to be fully in the crescent formation, which is basalt. I'll talk about that more when we get along. And until then, let's hit the trail. Parking lot over yonder. There's probably 7 or 8 cars there, as it is a nice warm Saturday, or will be a warm Saturday in spring. But like I was saying, the Duckabush River Trail goes something like 12 or 15 miles up and over to O'Neill Pass before dropping down the Quinault drainage. This is all crescent formation, so basalt. Think Hawaiian Islands style of eruption and geology. And then she got smashed into the coast of Washington about 40 million years ago, and has been continuing to be smashed in quite thoroughly by the continued subduction of the Juan de Fuca plate that creates the Cascade volcanoes. And so these mountains are, actually the Olympic Mountains are some of the quickest building mountains in the entire world because of it. So this area is characterized by really steep sided valleys and really deeply incised rivers. The Duckabush is technically a glacially fed river, but the glaciers are so small that the river water is going to be pretty clean or clear, especially this time of year. And as you can see, huckleberries are leafing out. Other things are starting to leaf out. The vine maple is just starting to get its buds out. But there are supposed to be giant fawn lilies out and some other forest wildflowers already blooming, especially as we go up and over Big Hump at around 4 miles. So we shall see what we get there.
hard too. Huh.
Flower that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. And it's got a hard casing on it too. Not sure what that is. Don't got no leaves on it yet. How far along are we? Should be getting pretty close. So this one's come down on the ground, but this is what cedar looks like. Yeah. And they are supremely adapted for our weather conditions, because if we can find one that's still up in the air, like this one here, the boughs swoop down, so when we get those really heavy, wet, gross snowstorms, those guys easily slough it all off, whereas other trees, the branches will be too stiff and it might either break the branch or bring the whole tree down. Their downside is they have very shallow root systems, so they come down in windstorms. Yep. Douglas firs are pretty shallow root systems too. Nobody's perfect. Everyone's got to have a downside. Just crossed into the wilderness boundary at about 1.2 miles, and now we're coming down off of Little Hump, a couple 100 feet elevation loss, and we should be getting some decent views of the Duckabush River. So far we've seen some little yellow buttercup flowers, some salmonberry flowers, if you can believe it or not, a couple of trilliums, and the Oregon grapes and the huckleberries are just getting started too. There is a nice big rhododendron shrub. About a month too early yet for them to be flowering, but they'll have nice bright pink flowers eventually. And as we're descending more and more and getting closer to the river, we can now hear it. And we should see it here in the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. Oh, look at the pretty color in that river. Want to go for a swim?
No.
Aw. Finally. Yeah, probably. It's probably about 40 degrees, 45 degrees or so. Yeah. So, finally along the river and in the sunshine for a little bit. We've gone about, oh come on, open for me, I hike. We've gone 2 2/3 miles. Sunshine. Rotate around. Sun. Pretty river. Maples and the cottonwoods are just starting to get their flowers and such out. Still a very pretty river. Bit of a landslide seep here. And here very shortly, in fact I think it's right now, we're going to start going up Big Hump. Beginning our 1,000-foot climb of Big Hump. Start at about 750 feet and you end up about 1,800 feet. Supposed to be some pretty decently good wildflower action though, so we shall see. Don't know when wildfire came through here. I'll have to look that up when I get home and post a caption down below. But I'd say it was at least 15, 20 years ago. Pretty mossy rocks. Moss can grow back quite quickly after a wildfire, not wildflower. The rest of it takes time, but fires are necessary. So away we go. Let's see here, what is poking through the trees over there? That direction. That is still St. Peter's Dome over there. Making our way up a Big Hump. St. Peter's Dome poking out over there. Let's see if I can find some of those pink flowers again. A waterfall over there. Oh, here we go. That's a good one. When I figure out what this bush is, I'll put it down in a caption down below, but the higher we're going up, the more and more of these we are seeing. Yeah. I believe that's where we're ending up to. Yeah. But I remember one of these cliffs, there was a whole bunch of water coming down it, and Ash and I stopped and sucked all the drippings off of it. River is way down there. Oh yeah, that's a nice big cliff. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Got some rhododendron and some fawn lilies. Yeah. These are some more of the fawn lilies like what we saw down below.
We're sitting up here, open up faster.
I guess, yeah. I was kind of thinking they wouldn't like the sun. But hey, what do I know? I'm not a botanist. There's a big one there.
Wow, yeah. Look at those leaves.
Yeah, way down on the ground with the pattern. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Whew. Oh, here we go. Whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of them. And then you got some Oregon grape. Oh, wow. Found them. The entire hillside now.
Yeah, down there too.
Wondering when we'd get to them. Oh yeah. That's pretty. Whole hillside of them now. And then whatever this pink flower is. Yeah. Whatever this is.
I like it here.
Yeah. Probably because the fire came through and opened it all up for them.
Higher, cooler. Pretty.
Oh yeah, little one. Starting to. And now we can start looking at the mountains on the other side too. Whew. Oh. There. We'll get in the shade and maybe you can see this better. Very pretty, very pretty. Picture comes out better in the shade too. You want to stop for a couple minutes?
Sure.
Okay, you can do that. Rotate around. Get a bit of St. Peter's Dome. Should be getting close to the top of Big Hump now. I think we're done with most of the switchbacks going up. Lots of wildflowers, lots of bird song, you know, good spring things, lots of fresh growth, stuff to look at. Uh-oh. Trail crew hasn't made it to this one yet. Sabrina would have a cow over that. Uh-huh. It would be only momentary, but she'd be like, really? I gotta do that.
I cut out a little foothold for you.
Yeah. There is a local volunteer trail crew that does a pretty good job on most of the trails. They probably just haven't made it this far yet this year. I know they're working on some other trails in the area up the River.
Do you think they'll cut that one off?
Probably, yeah.
No, okay.
Or at least notch it deeper so you can get through it easy.
You notch it underneath so you have to wonder.
Yeah, those are always the fun ones when they're about chest high and you don't know if you want to go under it or if you want to climb over it. It's a pain in the butt to do either. Yeah. Huh, like this one. Let's see here. I think I'm short enough to fairly comfortably squeeze underneath here. Yep. You gonna make it?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Come around to the dry side of this hill and you get all the rhododendrons and you get a good view spot. And most importantly, you get to feel the breeze.
That's the hard way up.
Yeah, well, that's the exciting way up. What you talking about?
Easy way down, hard way up.
Yeah. Some strawberry with some flowers there, a whole bunch of them. Yeah. All right, where's the black bear wandering through these woods? I want to see a black bear. Those are some steep mountains. A lot of open cliff face. Ooh, lots of strawberries. Don't you be rolling your ankle or blowing a knee out on me. It's a long way to carry you back down.
Couple years that'll be a strawberry patch.
Yeah. Yep, now that some seeds were finally able to colonize themselves underneath the moss growth without being blown away too quickly. Look at all the rhododendrons.
I figure a bear probably ate some strawberries when I was there, took a dump.
Yeah, well, there was a bunch of charcoal sitting there, so maybe somebody picked strawberries and ate them for dinner while they were sitting there and just dropped some or something. Or a bird flying over. Yeah. Who knows? You enjoying the tight, gnarly switchbacks?
Yeah, but I don't care, it's the steep.
Here, bear. Here, bear walking through the woods.
You're gonna find a bear, huh?
It's always an exciting day when you find a bear.
As long as he's over there.
Yeah. That was last spring about this time. Nash and I went on a hike in North Cascades. It was a really unseasonably warm day. And we got onto the reservoir and it was really low because it's early spring, so they want to catch all the runoff. There's a whole lot of exposed open dirt and grass and such, and we're walking along and enjoying it, going swimming in the lake. And a ways away, probably a good quarter mile, half a mile away, we see a black bear just grubbing on the grass. I'm like, okay, cool. He's over there, we're over here. Well, about an hour goes by, we pick up our gear and start walking back down the trail, and the trail is going through some deep forest, and it's a really hot day. We come around a corner in the forest, and he's laying there in the trail in a mud hole. About literally from me to that log, or I should say from Nash to that log. Scared the bejesus out of him. Scared the bejesus out of the poor bear too.
Hopefully he ran the other way.
Oh, he just got up, was a little mad. We made him get out of his mud hole, got about 10 feet off the trail and laid back down in another mud hole, and we walked right by him.
You only have black bears around here? What do you see?
Officially, there are no grizzly bears in the state. Unofficially, sometimes they sneak over the border down from Canada into North Cascades and over in the northeastern corner of the state, out by Kettle Falls and Republic and such. But officially, there are no population of grizzly bears in the state, and the Park Service is wanting to start a reintroduction program in the North Cascades and officially bring some in. hear the moss dripping off the rock, or the water dripping off the rock.
Uh-huh.
St. Peter's Dome over there, directly to our south now. And then I'm not sure what the snowy peaks are at the eventual head of the Duckabush Valley, but obviously I will look those up and I'll put them down in a caption below. But we should be getting fairly close to 5 Mile Camp and being back along the river for our stop point and our lunch point. Trillium. First one of those in a while. Salmonberry flower. Occasional rhododendron bush. Not nearly as profuse as the Mount Townsend Trail, a couple of river drainages to the north of us. Yep, we're getting close, or at least we're getting back around from the backside of Big Hump. Look at the cliffs over there on St. Peter's Dome. I believe, hopefully we'll be able to see it, but back in that ravine over there, I think I remember spotting a big waterfall coming out of those snow patches. Not quite to 5 Mile Camp yet, but I think all we have to do is get past this set of rapids and then we'll be deposited at it. But you can see the river, the Duckabush, going through a nice slot gorge here. We're almost down to it. If I'm remembering correctly, the section of river where 5 Mile Camp actually is a fair bit quieter piece of river than those whitewater rapids. But that looks like a good swimming hole. That looks like one heck of a swimming hole right there at the end of those rapids. Yep. Jump off that tree or off those rocks. So we are getting close, yeah. Trilliums, 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 trilliums. Uh-oh. Wild river crossing. Do-do-do-do-do. Ooh, this is gonna be a slippery one. Where do I want to end up? Where do I not want to end up? That's the better question. trilliums, but bobbed across. That wasn't too bad.
No. Those rocks don't want to step on them.
Yep, and they're not too slippery.
Yeah, they're too low.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we're going uphill. What's this?
I don't know, you want to go down, that's a good spot to hang out in the water right there. So it looks like you got to scale a waterfall down to get there. If I remember right, I think the camp is right after this stretch of whitewater, so it should be like right there, 5 minutes out or so. That flat ground down there is 5 Mile Camp. So if you want statistics, I can give you statistics. It took us 3 hours to go 5.6 miles, but we did a lot of stopping and looking at wildflowers, so just under a 2 mile an hour pace, but that's okay because that's what the steepness of the country looks like. And our ending elevation is going to be just under 1,200 feet, but we did have to go up to 1,800 feet from 700 feet. So yeah, but I would say that's 5 Mile Camp, and it's time to go find a spot to hang out. And when we do find a spot to hang out, I will take a long exposure of the river, and I will post that right there. So I think this is the branch off. I think the main trail continues that way, but the trail down to the camp is this direction. So yeah, we're gonna go find a spot. Want to go to 10 Mile Camp?
No, that's okay.
So yeah, we'll go find a log or a rock or some piece of dirt to sit on by the river and have lunch and enjoy our spring day in the woods. Yeah. Woo. Run, little water striders, run. New rocks can be slippery rocks. I believe Nash and I sat here before. Yeah. And it's not going to be a sunny spot. Well, it'll be a good shot though. Somewhere in here, on one of these rocks maybe. Mile Camp down below us. We are heading back out. It is approximately 12:50. So we hung out for just about 2 hours. I took a long exposure of the river. There's a good shot of the rapids. Doesn't that look like fun to kayak down?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
You're not game?
it's suicidal.
Yeah, some pretty intense stuff. Anywho, not only did I take a long exposure of the river, but I did find a calm-ish pool to leave the camera in to get good, hopefully good underwater video of the rapids and the bubbles. I'll post that video right there. And pretty much now we're just gonna head back out, and I'll probably end up running the outro when we go down the other side of Little Hump, or not Little Hump, Big Hump, up at the top where all the lilies are. And yes, those pink flowers, those pink cluster flowers we were finding, those are red currant, so I was correct. And the little yellow flowers are what's called evergreen violet. And then of course the big pink flowers I was finding are salmon berries, and the violets and the currants were the only flowers I was not 100% sure on. Pretty much everything else I knew exactly what it was. Uh-oh. Oh, he's there. Good? So now we start our long traverse back up to the top of Big Hump. But that pool down there looks so green and so inviting.
Yeah.
Stone crop. Beginning our descent from the top of Big Hump. Figured I'd turn it on so you can enjoy some of the lilies up here near the top of Big Hump, and the currant and the very occasional stone crop. But I think we've come out of the last of the stone crop, so that's okay. But lilies, so I think I'm going to run the outro now, but before I do, I want to point out some other trails in this pocket wilderness that surrounds Olympic National Park. Let me get to my spreadsheet real quick. Ooh, there's a good Oregon grape starting to flower out. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Alright, so we're in the Brothers Wilderness. The only 3 trails that I have written down for the Brothers Wilderness is the Duckabush, which we're doing right now, the Brothers Trail itself, which I believe those are tiger lilies trying to come out, but they're probably still a couple of weeks away yet. Ridge line up above us, so the south ridge line of the Duckabush River starts a good ways outside the wilderness area. I think it's only the last like mile and a half or so of the 5-ish mile trail along the ridge line is in the Brothers Wilderness before it ends at Mount Jupiter, and those are the only 3 trails in the Brothers Wilderness. So not a lot of access points. Currant, yummy. Lots of lilies, lots of lilies. So if you ever go up the Lena Lake Trail, past Lena Lake, and go up the Brothers Trail to the, I think it's called the Valley of Silent Men, where an old landslide half buried a forest, so there's a ton of snags. I'll post that there. Sorry, I'll post that right there. And then I do plan on, I don't know when, but I do plan on doing the Mount Jupiter Trail because it's a up there airy trail. I think it's in subalpine forest and eventually breaks out into meadows, but I believe at the start of the trail it's low enough to still be in the rhododendron zone, so you get pretty rhododendrons in May, And then you get up into the alpine flowers in June, and you get good views on the east flank of the Olympics back over the Puget Sound. So if and when I ever go do that trail on this channel, we'll post that right there. Now for the actual outro. Thank you for joining us. I want to make sure I get some decent shots of Sabrina's father, since it's rare to get him out here just because I'm crap and I keep forgetting to invite him. But anyway, thank you for joining us on this Coulee outdoors adventure. I've been your host, Brandon Scott. With me along today is Sabrina's father, Bob. We did the Duckabush Trail in the Eastern Olympic Peninsula into the Brothers Wilderness, ending at 5 Mile Camp. I'm going to keep trying to teeter-totter back and forth, doing a river trail one time and the next adventure being a desert trail through May, but I can't guarantee anything. I'm just trying to. Ratings, accessibility, it's a 2-hour drive from Seattle, and all but the very last 3 miles of road are paved. So I'll give accessibility a 3. Difficulty,
on a scale of 5, how hard do you think this was today for you? 5 being you climbed like Mount Rainier, 1 being you're walking along a beach.
3.5.
3.5? Okay. Yeah, I can work with that. It was 5.5 miles to... Yeah. But that's the thing, not everyone's going to be as good a shape as I am, so I like to ask Sabrina or my mother or you when you guys come along to get more normal person ratings. So yeah, Bob says 3.5 out of 5. I mean, coming up Big Hump is 1,000 feet in a mile on these tight switchbacks, so it will kick your butt a bit, and the distance is getting a bit longer for most people's day hiking ability. 5.5 miles one way is quite a far distance. Of course, Nash and I go do farther stuff than that all the time, but we're different. So yeah, Bob says 3.5. I'm gonna say for me, I'm gonna say probably a 2.5, just because outside of this steep mile of Big Hump, it wasn't really that bad. I mean, we weren't along the river too much. You had to go up and over Little Hump, but there wasn't too much steep grade outside of this one up and over on Big Hump. And then enjoyment, I think we're still a hair early on wildflowers for this trail, but I think we caught them pretty good. The weather is nice, the forest is pretty. We did get second growth forest from old logging operations. Once we got into the wilderness, we did get old growth, and we did get some pretty open forest from a fairly recent wildfire that encourages other plant species to grow. Plus, when you do get to 5 Mile Camp and get to hang out by the river, it is a very pretty river. So I'm going to give it a solid 3 stars, I think, for enjoyment. What's coming up next? Well, I don't know. Hopefully the next time it's out in the desert. And my top desert things to go do is Steamboat Rock, put our kayaks out on Banks Lake. There was 1 or 2 other lakes I wanted to kayak, but I can't think of at the moment. White Bluffs down by Hanford Reach, both north and south. Drumheller Channels. And there's 1 or 2 more that I can't think of. But that's a solid handful. That should get us through the rest of spring if we get to all of them. And then as for river walks, you've got the Lewis River and its waterfalls. Got the Boulder River, the Sauk River, the Seattle River. Done a fair amount of the rivers in the southern Cascades, so I like to get out to the North Cascades. And then on the east side of the Cascades, we've got, I just had it, the White River, the Little Wenatchee, Chewok, some of those up north.
Then more in the middle, you've got Ingalls Creek. And Icicle Creek would be really sweet to go do. And then down in the south, there's Pleasant Valley along the American River, along the way to White Pass. There's the Bumping Lake Trail to go do. Oh, speaking of which, I have ideas. Ooh, we can look at that though real quick. That's pretty. But speaking of which, I have ideas for Nash's birthday. Drumheller Channels, Steamboat Rock, and then also in May, I'd like to go out to Black Lake in the Pasayten Wilderness because of the fire that burnt through in, I think it was 2006, and it used to be a nice big forest, but now it's not because the fire burned through the forest. There's still, most of the standing dead trees are still there, but it's now open and you're gonna get cooked by the sun if you wait too long. But in May, it's just after it's snowed out and it's supposed to be covered in wildflowers, so like lupins and fireweeds and lilies and anything and everything else that's on that east side of the mountains for springtime flowers. And plus then you get to a really big frickin' lake, which would be really fun to go swimming in. Other than that, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Either way, please leave a comment on what you did or did not like about the video, because A, it helps the algorithm to get more people to see the videos and maybe get more subscribers. Speaking of which, if you like the channel, you like the content, please hit that subscribe button. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And B, more importantly, if you tell me what I did or did not do good, I can try and fix it for the next video and the video after that and the video after that. Until then, until our next adventure, which again, as always, I have no idea when it will be. I have ideas of what it could be, but who knows? You'll just have to wait and see. Until then, have a good one, and ciao.